Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. It's the Santa's Little Helper. Yeah, no, you just got anti-John Cena'd. Is that a meme yet? We should make that a meme. Today we're going to be talking about what I consider to be the best rocket in the game, rivaled only by the deatomizer. I haven't double-checked the deatomizer since its release too much. I've used it a bit, but I haven't really went in on it. It doesn't seem to be doing as much damage as it did before. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just doesn't... It's a great weapon. I'll link the video below if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. But when this thing released, it was a powerhouse. But I think what's really stood the test of time is the Santa's Little Helper. And I'm going to show stats on the screen right now of like the top 3 most common rockets. And that's the Santa's Little Helper compared to the Bazooka compared to the Jackal-Launcher. The Jackal-Launcher is a crowd favorite because a lot of these traders types, you know who they are, like to go all crazy about these certain weapons. And it's obviously an amazing event weapon, which looks really, really cool, but is absolutely undisputed bottom tier. It does abysmal damage compared to any other rocket, and the Santa's Little Helper stands way on top, like way on top. When I got the Santa's Little Helper, I had a bazooka of every single element: fire, water, nature, and energy. And the Santa's Little Helper was so good that I actually trashed the other 3 schematics. Like, it just did not make sense to keep the bazooka around. So without further ado, let's talk about the best perks for the Santa's Little Helper. So it has an amazing impact, which means you're probably not going to need to put any extra perks on it. That alone will send most smashers flying backwards. The only real area where the Santa's Little Helper doesn't quite match up to the bazooka is the reload speed. So I like to put reload on this just to keep firing. And this is, again, preference. I prefer durability. Now, the best perks for the Santa's Little Helper is kind of a conversation as to what you want. If you want raw damage, you don't care about expense, I do believe crit rate and crit damage is probably the best way to go for that. But I would never, ever recommend that on a rocket launcher. Without durability, I think you've got about 15 shots with this thing, and that is just nowhere near what you want for a crit build. Like, out of 15 shots, 5 of those would crit, if that gives you any kind of perspective. So I think double damage or even triple or quadruple damage is absolutely where you want to go with the Santa's Little Helper. And the only other thing to talk about in terms of damage is physical, and that's my preference. I like it. I have considered energy. I am aware that it's better against elemental zombies, but I haven't really found that to be needed, you guys. Whenever I've been shooting this into a crowd of zombies, even in the 144 players, this thing obliterates. And to have that 24% extra damage to the physical zappy faces and take or miss monsters, and even physical smashers, it's just my preference. I haven't needed to change it, but obviously I would recommend energy if you guys really wanted to switch that up. And now we'll talk about why I do reload and durability. So reload just gets you more DPS, technically. You just keep firing faster and faster. You can get more shots off. And it makes it a lot more convenient because a lot of times I'll pull it out, I'll send out a shot, and then I'll reload it and switch to another weapon. So to have that reload a lot quicker is super, super convenient. And then durability cuts down on the cost because this is kind of a lot, 12 or 3 bright core, 12 efficient. To have about 22, or I think that display is wrong. It might be like 23 shots. To have only 21 or 23 shots for every 12 parts is really expensive, so I try to use these things sparingly. And durability just gives me about 6 or 7 extra shots, which I personally like, because as I said, with double damage, even in the highest zones, this thing has done exactly what I needed it to do. And there are very few weapons in this game that get this kind of treatment from me, but I mean, very few weapons in the game, can I say, are so powerful they don't need the help. But the Santa's Little Helper absolutely falls under that category. If you guys have seen my Spyglass video, link below if you haven't checked it out, I mentioned how it's kind of fallen off in the higher zones, how this is a phenomenal weapon for one-shotting mist monsters all the way up until about the 108 plus zones, where it just doesn't quite do the job. And you'll note that headshot damage is about a 320,000 rounding here. The Santa's Little Helper hits for very, very close to that in an area of effect explosive hit. So I can do just under the headshot of a Spyglass to a whole crowd of zombies in one shot. And that alone makes the Santa's Little Helper a far more useful all-around weapon to use. Now, This video, I don't know if I'll ever do a video on the bazooka, but I'll spoil it now. I mean, it's very, very similar. I've got durability here. Again, if you don't care about the cost, it can be reload all the same, but damage is very well better than crit rate and crit damage for rockets almost every single time, because as I said, you just don't have that many shots. So that's it for me. That's it for the Santa's Little Helper. I know a lot of people were very, very looking forward to this weapon coming back with the Year 2 birthday llamas, because it is, as I said, stands alone as the best rocket in the game. Now, I say rocket, meaning the deatomizer is really more of a plasma cannon. I don't even know if we can actually call it a rocket launcher, even though I do believe the game classes it as such, an explosive weapon. There you go. So it's not really the same thing as a rocket, but it's definitely neck and neck with that one. So hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching. And if you really enjoyed today's video, you should hear me ramble for like a few more seconds while I give time for people to click off this video and, you know, see the patrons. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Okay, bye.